much, Ceann Comhairle. Systemic failure and shortcomings, a failure to monitor, review and supervise. Numerous and notable warning signs. She disappeared from view. These are just some of the devastating findings from the 2 interim reports of the Farrelly Commission of Investigation. Running to nearly 800 pages, both interim reports map out in significant detail the breathtaking failures of a system that was meant to protect a vulnerable person. There have been reviews, investigations and a number of inquiries over 2 decades, and what seems evident from this wealth of information and investigation is that Grace was being systemically abused and systemically failed over a prolonged period of time. Do we ever actually learn from history, I often wonder, and do we learn from past mistakes? To ask and to understand the reasons why systems designed by people to protect people fail so miserably. There is little doubt that the key personnel within the South Eastern Health Board at that time were outrageously inept in their roles and had little understanding of their duty of care towards Grace. To read that they actually had no real understanding in regard to the discharge of their duties in the care of Grace beggars belief, and I wonder at times, is it a convenient excuse as well? It essentially reads to me that Grace was placed in a wholly unacceptable foster placement and simply forgotten. Yet when staff and day services noted and reported disturbing behaviour, they were dismissed. Most worrying was the revelation that after an allegation of abuse, a decision to remove Grace was taken. However, this was reversed. What is really hard to read is that whatever failings Grace encountered as a minor not only continued, but escalated amid confusion over her legal status, abandonment by officials for years on end, and the fallout of the decision not to remove her from the foster home. The detailing of Grace's behaviour at this point is actually very distressing and very difficult to read. Compounding this was the fact that Grace could not articulate what she was suffering, she just suffered in silence. Recently I spoke about this issue on our local radio, and I said, and I feel I say this regularly in here, that I sometimes actually run out of words when it comes to children and the treatment of children by this state, both from a historical point of view and from present. And I really do wonder, you know, here we are again having another debate where we're all shocked and dismayed and concerned. I nearly can guarantee that in a few years' time something else is going to happen and we'll be having a similar debate in here. We really need to start putting the resources in place to ensure that this doesn't happen to other children and other vulnerable people. So concerned were Gardaí that they sent a file to the DPP in 2020 recommending prosecution, and I think I'm right in saying, although open to correction, that the DPP is still to decide on this case. I think we were all shocked to learn in May of this year that the Commission of Investigation's work was to expand to examine a further 46 others in the home and whether they were also abused. And to think that this went on for 20 years and could also impact 46 others is wholly and completely unacceptable. To say the state has an appalling record when it comes to the treatment of children is a depressing understatement. We look at marginal laundries, the mother and baby institutions, industrial schools. It, unfortunately, as I've said, seems that we don't ever appear to be able to learn any sort of lesson and make positive changes. I also hold huge reservations with the use of the Commission of Investigation format, and I do want to make that point, to properly investigate these abuses. To date, the investigation has cost £7 million. Imagine if only a tiny fraction of this money was channelled into providing vulnerable young people and adults like Grace with the care they so rightly deserve. And I think we've seen from the mother and baby home investigation how the Commission of Investigation system is not really fit for purpose, and we need as legislators to look at amending that. I sincerely hope that I never ever have to stand in this chamber and talk about a case of absolute dereliction of duty ever again, but unfortunately I wouldn't hold my breath in relation to that. It's imperative that any staff working with vulnerable adults clearly understand their role, the legal status of those in their care, particularly around wardship and guardianship, and that they're also held accountable in relation to their roles. That they're held responsible, and when they do have the courage in certain cases to come forward and talk about situations, that they're not then discriminated or dismissed for that. Thank you, Ceann Comhairle.